Oneness family. This is Shophar from Social Energy Work.
This is Kirti from Real Estate Culture.
And we're here to speak to you today about S.E.X and deep relaxation, aka cocooning, aka Christ stylus. So what is all of that? What are we talking about here? There's two basic states that happens when you do the S.E.X, central emotional exchange. And one of them, and again, we've talked about this before, the yin and yang of intimacy and stuff, right? Is that nothing is yin or yang by itself. Is always the whole theory of yin. That is just a theory. It's just something that the ancient Chinese came up with to help us understand nature a little bit better. It's not to say that yin and yang even really exist, but the theory is that when you have a comparison to something, something will go into a state of allowing or resting or being something that will receive the other. And then the other one will be the thing that can come through with the to be received, that will act on the other thing, that will take the dynamic stance. So there's two basic states, and there's many different states, right? That happens with S.E.X, but two of the basic sets of things that can go on. That's what we're going to be speaking to today. Okay. And the first one is a more yin state, where we go into more like a more rest, more restorative, more nourishing state or whatever. So you've been in sessions and you've experienced this and everything. So we know that we call it another term for it is cocooning. Those who can see energy, I've heard that it's like a energy, the auric field. Sometimes we give off a gold light, some people have said.
Wow.
So yeah, anything you want to say to just the basic thing on it?
Well, I know definitely doing sessions with you, I've felt a golden, it feels like a golden basket, a weaving of golden threads around clients as they're on the table and we're working. It just feels that way. And then, the cocooning sensation, I feel like, is about tuning into your own receiving. Like, how much can you actually receive yourself receiving?
Yeah, so I love the way you said that about the deep tuning in, because that to me is exactly it. And I love something else you said in the old video too, is that cocooning, or actually even showing up for an energy work session to do S.E.X, or to do this with your for yourself and or with your partner or partners or whatever, right? To take this time to go into these states of S.E.X, central emotional exchange, is revolutionary. And that's something, Kirti, you had said in the last video, to go into a deep state of yin, a deep state of getting in contact with your feminine energy. We're not talking about male and female. We're not talking about gender. We're talking about polarity. To go into this deep state of the feminine polarity is revolutionary. When we live in a machine culture, there's always got us on dead lines. Think about that term, dead lines.
Right.
No circular, no feminine energy invited in that, is a dead line.
A flat line.
A flat line. And that's the opposite of cocooning or ESR. Right. So but what do you think about that?
Wow, that was a lot. That was really good. Yeah, I think that it's revolutionary because we are constantly being asked to be in that deadline, flatline culture, and women and men both. So giving each other the opportunity to cocoon is revolutionary because we're allowing each other the space to rest and restore and relax and refuel and refill and feel pleasure and feel joy, when that's not really the norm. Right. Well, in the machine culture.
In the machine culture, you can hear so many people, especially the poor womb beings, you can hear your ovaries sizzling sometimes because you have to step into the masculine energy so strong. And then even so many guys, like, we don't know, but our prostates, that's the most feminine part.
So what are some examples? What would be some examples for ovary sizzling, like, oh, I can hear them sizzling. Like, what would be an example of that?
So there's nothing wrong. I want to be very clear with this too. If you look at a lioness in lion society, right, or the lion clans, when the male lion is not around, the lioness is in her masculine energy to go take down a fucking wildebeest and zebra. Are you kidding me? Like that's pretty you're like, that's strong, aggressive energy. But she's not built. They're not built to do that all of the time. There's a time when the male lion is like, when the hyenas come and
so when it's almost like when you're in overdrive and there's no space for the feminine stuff to come through, or the yin, or the restorative, relaxed places, then it's like the ovaries are in overdrive.
Yes.
So they thrive in the resting, relaxing position.
And here's the thing, is that the male lion at a certain point, where the female lions, usually every now and then he may join the hunt, but most of the time it's the females who do it. He's resting. He's resting for the moment. And it doesn't come up as much as hunting. Hunting is like every day, but there will be a moment when another male lion or the hyenas, or a leopard, and he has to step up to the forefront.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and in that place, it's good for the lioness to be able to fall back, and he steps to the forefront. So see that, and that's just nature. We were talking to a friend of ours. I was talking to a friend of ours, Natasha, and we were talking about how in nature, that naturally happens. Not like, okay, now I'm going to step. Naturally, that yin and yang thing, they get it. How come we got to think about it, and we so compartmentalize? This is what the machine culture has done to us. Well,
that to me is pretty obvious. I think that goes back to colonization and slavery.
The founding the founding fathers.
Right. It's like, if you're going to start to strip away people's, sovereignty, or write it and do it, and then people have to like use the system to fight to get it back. That's how we've created feminism as well. It's like, it's an effort to reclaim power. However, we're reclaiming power under the very system that has created that power. So now you're just creating another iteration of that very power.
I love what you said there, because if you want to hear ovary sizzling, unfortunately, and I'm not trying to shit on, or because I understand the response and what it's trying to do, but talk to a feminist. Many times, talk to a womb being who's really in a feminist energy. And there's different degrees of feminism. There's some feminists who get it, and they're actually trying to re-invoke in the workplace or whatever their feminine nature, and be like, I can be in my feminine energy and still be respected.
I think it's about, how are we rewarding the ways that we naturally are, rather than the ways that we act, like the patriarchy.
Right.
The wild women within, the nature-based women, the wisdom, the lineage that's being passed down from mother to daughter to mother to daughter to mother to daughter, over and over and over again. How are we honoring that, rather than how we have had to like navigate wearing multiple masks, or dropping that and then succeeding in this world that truly actually doesn't honor any of that nature-based work that we come from.
Ashe. I love that. Yeah, it doesn't honor this nature-based work that we come from. I love what you said there, because I think we often have to be reminded as human beings that, because we say phrases like this. This is what that, to me, lets me know that I need to remind myself that, I'm gonna go out into nature. You are nature.
That's right.
And you can never be separate from it. You are Ifa, you are Tanchda, you are the Tao, you are these different systems, these oracle systems, you are that. And something like cocooning, or another term that I'm using now is Christalis or Christalis. Why Christalis? Because it's, in my opinion, when we think about Mary Magdalene, which is the mother principle, interesting that Jesus, or Yeshua, had both a mother and a lover named Mary. I know it's a common name, but still there's something there with that, the mother principle. The word Mary has ma in it.
I was just gonna say that.
So Mary, 2 times over, mama, he had mama in his life, right? But that Christalis stage, being able to go deeply into the yin, is one of the ways, y'all, whether you're female, male, whatever, that we can step into Christ or Buddha consciousness.
That's beautiful. Beautiful. It's almost like actually before you can step into the butterfly and get your wings of that Christ consciousness, you've actually got to go within and deep within from and own where you're at. You're in that cocoon tucked away, and all of that has to break apart and recreate. Then you get to go into that Christ consciousness and get your wings to fly.
And that you have to go deep within. And there's a period, I mean, we don't know, we can't ask the moth or the butterfly, but I don't know if it's a very comfortable state. They look kind of tight up and it looks like a baby with the fetus, but I've heard that with the baby, like babies, like when in the beginning, that's how you can get babies to stop crying. Is you use the term in the other video, swaddling them.
Yeah, right.
You know, so I think there's a certain thing that maybe the caterpillar, when it's going through this stage, it feels a certain level of comfort in being swaddled and being tight like that.
Well, that actually relates to something in education too, with students who have anxiety or panic attacks. Something that we do is we hold them really tightly and we hug and we really wrap all their edges. Yeah. And we actually make it feel really, really tight. And I think what it is that we're just recreating that feeling of close protection and connection and just you're okay. And you just really hold them tight. Sometimes even rolling them up in yoga mats. It's something that students really enjoy who are having like panic attacks or issues. Just calms down their nervous system.
Right.
And makes it a calm system.
Yeah, it makes it go into the awareness system.
Right.
Yeah, and that's a key thing of this work. When you do the cocooning, aka the Christalis, you're shifting yourself from this nervous system, fucking being in traffic and the bosses and the kids and all the other things that many human beings that we're juggling on the daily basis, and being in an awareness system with norepinephrine and epinephrine and what we used to call adrenaline, with our kidneys pumping cortisol and everything.
Right.
You know, in this fight or flight response constantly, moving from the nervous system to the awareness system. And when your awareness system, when the energy, we've been told by the ancients, when the creative energy, when we shift from nervous system to awareness system and that energy goes up to the crown, that is the crowning of the Christ.
Beautiful.
That's the Christalis.
Right.
And you have to use your Mother Mary principle. You have to use your Lover Mary principle. To help bring that Christalis online.
This is really amazing. Something just came through.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because you're saying Mary, Ma, M-A, and we were talking about Ma and material, matter, all these things that have
even the masculine and man itself has
right, masculine, man, manipulation, manipulative, matrix, mask, anything.
Yeah.
Okay, so anything that has Ma in it actually comes from the mother and realizing that power of
you can't get away from it.
Right. And then you also said mother, which is M-O. But today what we looked at was Ma.
Oh,
as
wow. Yeah, I love it.
And
I love it. That was dope. Yeah. The moth. A little fun fact, y'all, too. The reason why we're saying cocoon and Christalis or chrysalis, because we often say that we think of a cocoon for a butterfly, but if you want to get a fun fact, fucking Jeopardy, peace be upon Alice Trebek. But if you want to get a little fun fact, actually only moths have cocoons. As butterflies, they call it chrysalis.
The wings
have arrived. So the cocoon is usually made out of like a silk-like thing, whereas the chrysalis with the butterflies tend to be like a little harder substance or whatever. Just a little fun fact. It doesn't really matter, but the whole thing. But I love the moth and the mother. We looked at a video prior to this about the process, because I mean, people always celebrate the butterfly. What about moths? We think of them a lot of times as a little gray, dingy, but did y'all know it's a lot of beautiful butterflies?
So beautiful.
Yeah. And actually, I'll put some in the video here for y'all to see. So yeah, so just in closing out, Kirti, for the family and everything about the cocooning, the Christalis, process of nurturing ourselves or being nurtured with our lover, S.E.X or whatever, however it occurs for you. Anything you'd like to say? Closing out?
Well, yeah, I think that even as you express it as a very yin process, which means it's feminine and it's being receptive, I believe is what you said, and receiving. Even in that, there is a masculine aspect.
That's right.
Yeah. And that even stepping into receiving for yourself is showing up for yourself. And that's a powerful way for the masculine energy to show up for your feminine energy.
I love that. Yes. So again, what Kirti is speaking to, and I love that you brought that up, we can't escape yin and yang, y'all. Like in traditional Chinese medicine, TCM, when we separate yin and yang, that's what we currently on this planet, we call death. You know, yin and yang is always doing this. And the reason why they show it as the black and the white. But if you look at the black one, it has a dot that's white. Right. And then the other one has a dot that's black. Because it's also letting us know that you say yin, but the masculine energy or the yang energy is in there, and then vice versa. We can't escape that. We're doing that process right now with breathing. Let's take a deep, wherever you are, through time and space, let's take a deep breath together. Breathing in and out. Let's do two more. Breathing in and out. Breathe in and out. So the thing with the Christ stylist, you know, holding that energy for the crowning, for the Buddha, the Christ energy to come online. And that's going to look different for every human being that flowers, that blossoms in that way. When your creativity comes in, it may be just a flash. It might be a bright thought that you have, or a beautiful inspiration. It doesn't mean that you walk on water necessarily, you know what I mean? Or that you're putting your hands in healing somebody right away. It may just mean that you align with your purpose more on this planet. But what I love that what you were just saying, Kirti, even in going into this deep yin state, whether it's your own masculine, setting up the parameters so you can do that, or as a practitioner, or as your lover, the masculine energy is present as well. Someone is clearing the space for the feminine to go into this deep restorative place. And with that, y'all, you know, I think that feels complete. That's the idea of Christalis or cocooning is to be able to go into that deep restorative state. So again, I'm Shophar from Faux Show Energy Work.
I'm Kirti from Bill Culture.
Yes, and Kirti, tell them about yourself, what you got going on, if you got any events or anything you'd like to tell the family.
Well, everything that I do is on the full moon or the new moon. So if that's something that you enjoy, I think check out my website and see if anything sparks your interest, and reach out. I love to connect with each and every person that comes through to the events, and yeah, we'll take it from there.
I love it. I love it. Thank you. And again, I do energy work. We do energy work with couples. Evolve Love. We also do it with singles. Kirti will work with the womb beings, or those in the feminine energy, and I will work with the men or masculine energy. And then I also have a book, Soul, Sacred Orgasmic Living. And we actually do a series of workshops. So one of the things that you'll see that I'm decoding and recoding my awareness to do is to not call it sex anymore. I will, for a period of time until it becomes totally rewired, you'll see me say S.E.X, which is short for sensual emotional exchange. And the reason why is because when I think of sex, and I don't know, maybe you're different, but I think many of us are programmed that when we say sex, we're just thinking about the genitals or mouth on genitals, but something usually around the genitals. And that's all well and good. It's beautiful. That's how we got to the planet. Probably our parents didn't know about S.E.X, sensual emotional exchange. We probably came from that. And with that being said, though, if we're talking evolution, if we're talking Christalis and coming out that cocoon and getting our wings, sensual emotional exchange, realizing that we are bigger than just the genitals, the genitals. And again, thank you all for coming through. Keep that S.E.X in your life. Keep shining, keep evolving, and do that exponentially. Oneness.
Peace.